Channel 41, Go TV Channel 125. This is Joy Newsroom. I am Emefa Akosia Adeti, and all social media platforms as Joy News TV. Our lead stories this hour. Ejura youth go on a rampage. 3 suspects on remand set police station ablaze. We have details as more military men arrive on the scene to calm the situation after policemen on duty took to their heels. Also in the bulletin, President John Mahama restructures ministries, reducing them from 30 to 23. We shall share with you the full list of the newly established ministries. Meanwhile, a fellow at CDD Ghana, Kwekwasari, has welcomed the resize of the various ministries from 30 to 23, but calls for legislation that prevents future presidents from exceeding the required ministries.
This was done not with an executive instrument, but with legislation, with a statutory amendment, so that it becomes ensconced.
Also, Ral Patients left puzzled and wondering their fate as the National Health Insurance Authority fails to send a clear communication on claims payments on HIS and HIS beneficiaries.
Hoping that management may find money somewhere else, maybe take it from hospital, somewhere else from the resources in the hospital, I don't know. And we don't want to get to the point where the unit is shut down completely. That would be disastrous.
Many thanks for choosing us this afternoon. IRA youth in Ejura have set the local police station ablaze in a violent rampage, freeing suspects on remand after breaking into the cells. The unrest began when the police informed the youth earlier today that their colleague, who had been detained on suspicion of using a stolen phone, had died in custody after a short illness. Enraged by the news, the youth stormed the station demanding answers and eventually resorted to destruction, leaving the facility in flames. Let's go now to Ejura, where more military men have just arrived to calm the situation. I'd also be talking to the Assemblyman Samuel Kujo Kwansam, who is on phone right now. Thank you so much for joining us. What's really happening in the community?
You are welcome, and hello to your listeners. Yeah, as you made mention, but let me correct this impression. The suspect is not in custody, which the youth are demanding for his release. The suspect has passed on already. That is the situation at hand now. Yes, situation is under control. Both the military and the joined by the other security personnel are here right now. And the situation, the fire service has also come to quench the fires. That's what I can say for now. The situation is under control, as you made mention.
Right, so this person who has already passed on, do we know who he is? The reports that we've been gathering and confirmed says that he was in custody because of using a stolen phone. Is that the case?
Yeah, he has passed on. The name is Shaibu. He passed on last night.
What took him to the police station?
Come again, please.
What took him to the police station?
He was invited by the police upon a complaint by a certain individual on a test case that the stolen phone. So this suspect, who is now late, rode to the police station himself and lodged a complaint, or he was interrogated. A statement was taken from him. Then after that, he said, it is late in the night. Allow me to go home. The following morning, I'll come. Then by then, the owner of the phone and the person who sold it to me might be around so that you interrogate all of us. Then the police said, no, you have to be detained till the following morning. Then the suspect, who is late now, said, no, my condition is not safe. So allow me to go home. The following morning, I came here myself now. The following morning, I will do the same. I'll come. But the detective said no, and the unfortunate situation happened.
Now the report we also gathered is that he died on his way when the police was taking him to the hospital. Is that the case, or he died in custody?
He didn't die in the custody. He complained. He started complaining and started vomiting. and the charge officers around called the CID in charge to come and release the guy to the hospital. So that delayed, the process delayed, which led the guy into his unfortunate situation.
So has there any arrest been made so far?
No, please.
Right. At the time that the youth also stormed to the police station, where were the police?
Today is weekend, and as we all know, very few are around or were around at the charge office. But later they called in for reinforcement, and as we speak, they are here in their numbers. The military and the police are all here, including the fire service and the NASB, they are all here. But when the incident happened, there were 3 here. As we all know, we are in the weekends, and only few of the charge officers were around.
What will be the way forward for you as the assemblyman for the area?
Yeah, as opinion leaders, we are all gathered here, including Nananom and other leaders from the town. We want to meet immediately after this to see how we can resolve this for future sake.
Finally, before I let you go, so the body of the deceased person is in whose custody now? I'm definitely sure that will be at the morgue, but...
The unfortunate aspect is that when the guy passed on at the hospital, they convert the body to the monk, who is also a Muslim, and their custom doesn't work that way. That causes everything. After he passed on, just go to the family members, inform them about the situation. You took the body to the morgue, which is about 100 kilometers away from Ejura.
Right, and the family of the deceased person, have you heard anything from them yet?
Yeah, they are grieved now. They are grieved now, and they want justice to be served. They are grieved now, and they want justice to be served. Who caused it? Who is the police? CID. What caused it? Was the person touched at the office? Was he beaten to cause his vomit or whatever?
Right. Well, thank you so much. Would come to you again when there's any new development. But thank you for talking to us. We've been talking to Samuel Kujo Sam, who is the assemblyman for the electoral area, where we've just been telling you that angry youth had just stormed the police station to set the station ablaze with the claims that their friend or their family member had passed on upon going to report himself that he had been invited to discuss an issue of a stolen phone. But moving away from that story, President John Mahama has issued an executive instrument to restructure the unestablished new ministries within the civil service, effectively reducing the ministries from 30 to 23. My colleague Winston Taki joins me in studio as we go through the 23 ministries. Now, briefly, let's go through the 23 ministries, yes, Winston. Yeah.
So, provision in the law gives the president a mandate, and he stood on the Civil Service Act 1993, Section 11, Subsection 3 of PNDC Law 327, and that gives him the provision there. So as of today, the full list of 23 ministries were released. He indeed promised that was going to happen, and he started working on that. So we'll go straight to some of the ministries that are critical for the success of his program as president. And first of it is the Ministry of Finance, which already we've seen Kesatu Forsen, who will be heading that ministry, and energy as well. We've seen Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Interior, and the Ministry of Defense. These are initial ones. Meanwhile, we still have the Ministry of Education. Already he's met with stakeholders in the education sector, trying to bring about the current situation in the sector. We have the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition.
That will be quite new. There was Ministry of Energy, but it seems to be now extended to
absolutely
green transition. Yeah.
And you realize that when we talk about Ghana's transition plan, there have been development in that sector. Therefore, looking at where the world is going based on climate change, new energy, bringing all that into perspective is critical that Ghana participate in the global transition conversation. That is why I believe informed adding transition together with the Power Ministry, Ministry of Energy, making it the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. Okay. We also have the Ministry of Roads and Highways, which have also been established. We also have the Ministry of Transport, which is quite different from the Ministry of Roads and Highways. That was initially we had the Ministry of Roads and Highways and Transport all together, and that is a bit of separation there. We also have the Ministry of Sports and Recreation. I think basically we'll get details from the sports team on what they expect from the sector going into subsequent.
One would have thought recreation will be under tourism, arts and culture.
Absolutely.
I actually see why they may want to merge it with the Ministry of Sports. I see that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And the Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice also is an established ministry to stand on its own under this government. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. We have the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, whilst we have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs standing on its own as well. There are some key ministries that were scrapped, which will come to that shortly. But before that...
We see that he has also merged the Ministry of Local Government together with Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, which yesterday Kofi Eje predicted so much on the polls, and I can see that he's gone on that tangent.
It quite makes sense. If you add the local government, their connection with the chieftaincy institution, make it accessible to the decentralization structure in our government system. So I believe it's well in the right direction there. We have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Communication and Digital Technology and Innovation. This we see where digital media comes to play. The regulation of the sector becomes critical. And there were calls that why don't they tax especially digital media because of the revenues that are generated from online activities. Right, yeah. And therefore, it makes sense to bring regulation to that effect. So we have innovations there. And talking about the environment, there's the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. Also, there's a whole Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. Initially, we had the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Basically, right. And said, therefore, I believe this is critical based on the number of policies that the government intends to establish, bringing in the youth, ensuring the youth are given the needed skills and information, especially SMEs and related development there. So they intend to empower the youth, and we are yet to see the various policies that may come up as a result of this particular ministry. And meanwhile, we still have the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources. These are also key there. We're talking about our housing situation, where we are now, whether government will still be visiting these affordable housing policy.
Definitely.
Yeah, that is critical. If you look at...
Does this mean that the Ministry of Sanitation is somehow being...
It's been scrapped. It's one of the scrapped ministries that he believes are not necessary. We already saw the challenges that the sanitation ministry faced under the previous government. If you look at our current sanitation issues related, especially regards to the various municipalities, refuse collection, the structured employment, and even the payment of independent stakeholders within the sector. We have the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection coming up there. We have the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. And this sector, there has been consistent conversation even before the election, bringing key stakeholders within the entertainment and arts sector. They believe that it's a very formidable sector. With right investment, Ghana can attract key investment from that sector as well. Now, this is a very interesting one. The Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Once, always, every year, every election year, one key conversation is 10 billion jobs, 1 billion jobs. But seeing that the intentionality to have a ministry dedicated to it makes quite sense. At least we can access data based on the various structures that may come up there. So we'll be following up on that particular ministry subsequently. Now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the previous governments had key strategic policies, and there have been recommendations that they should continue with the policies, although there have been challenges with regards to the implementation of such policies there. Ministry of Fisheries and Agriculture also is something that has been prioritized by John Mahama's government. The last of it is the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. The combination of this particular sector is very formidable. If you talk about the nation's trade engagement, It's something we saw during the inauguration, how businessmen came to welcome.
Ghana is open for business.
Basically.
Right.
And also another area that has to be prioritized, the African Continental Free Trade Area. As the Secretariat is in Ghana, the key issue is how many Ghanaians are conversant about the benefits in that structure. How can they be involved in ensuring the benefit that when they trade outside the borders, what are the means, what are the provisions, and these are things that needs to be...
Quickly, per our analysis, we're assuming that about 5 ministries have been scrapped. Which ones are these?
So the key ministry that have been scrapped are sanitation, which you mentioned earlier. Also, Ministry of Information have been scrapped. We also have the Ministry of Railways. Initially, we had that rail sector standing on its own as a sector. And we also have the Ministry of National Security being taken off the whole tangent.
Okay, thank you so much. Winston Taki. Always a pleasure to have you in the studio. Now, moving on staying in this story. Meanwhile, a fellow at CDD Ghana, Kukwasari, has welcomed the resize of the various ministries from 30 to 23, but calls for legislation that prevents future presidents from exceeding the required ministries.
I mean, my memo to him, I don't know whether he read it or not, was that it should be 20. But I take the 23, it's good. It's close to 20 than 30. What I would have loved was that this was done not with an executive instrument, but with legislation, with a statutory amendment, so that it becomes ensconced. I mean, an executive instrument, the next president can come and revoke it and increase it to 40. But we have to create some culture where it is not too easy to create a ministry. You know, the fact that the president can just come and by the signing of a paper, he create 5 more ministries, that should belong to the past. A ministry is something that requires logistics, personnel, and so on. So the only time that you should successfully be able to create a ministry is if you have gone through parliament, gone through consultation, and so on. Ideally, we shouldn't be changing ministries the way we do.
Well, moving away from that story, the dialysis treatment of the Upper East Regional Hospital will be forced to shut down in the coming days if the National Health Insurance Authority fails to send a clear communication on claims payments for the NHIS beneficiaries. Dr. Emmanuel Akutibo is a physician specialist at the hospital.
Honestly, that has been a very big challenge to us, and taking this decision to go back to what we started in December after the health insurance gave an order that we should do free dialysis for the patient hasn't actually been easy. And sometimes we look at these patients and we understand the challenges that they go through. But one of the key things that we're also so worried about is that we are just a new unit. I think we should be the baby unit for dialysis centers in the whole country. And we currently have 3 machines, mostly 2 are more active working. And we have more than almost close to 20 patients. And we're worried that if we don't take time, we will crash and it will affect even these patients who will now have to travel to Tamale. So it wasn't an easy decision in telling the patients to pay initially. But after management met and had discussions, looked for other options, they decided that, okay, let's continue the free whilst we see communication from the authorities to see the way forward and see whether we can make a case for them to pay the facility as soon as possible so that we can be able to maintain the unit. Otherwise, if we keep going this way and we don't get a clear communication as when they will be able to refund us those monies, we may end up crashing and our patients will suffer more. Yesterday, one of the stores people told us that, the nurse in charge of our unit, he told us that our stock is running down. The consumables we use for the dialysis is running down. So I'm hoping that management may find money somewhere else, maybe take it from hospital, somewhere else from the resources in the hospital, I don't know, maybe to get us something whilst we work this thing out, because the longer it takes, the more challenges we will have. And we don't want to get to a point where the unit is shut down completely. That would be disastrous.
And you want to confirm to us tonight that you're almost getting there, correct? That your unit may be shut down?
I am sure if the next few weeks, the next week or so, if we don't, I'm hoping that management will be able to mobilize resources somewhere else. If they will not be able to do, then we'll run into trouble.
Which means you would have to shut down.
Yes.
Well, over the last few hours, renal patients have been left puzzled and wondering what will be their fate. President of the Renal Patients Association, Bafo Kojo Ahinkwa, says they are requesting a meeting with President Mahama.
Very much worried. When I heard this, I heard it through the media airwaves that somebody has been rejected. So I begin to inquire, which hospital was that? My brother, now patient, the mortality rate is a bit stable. Since we started, it's a bit stable now. If we need to go back, we are in big trouble. We beg them. We are on our knees. We beg them. That is what I'm saying. Personally, I'm putting everything effort to so that we can meet the government, and then we'll put our requests in front of them. We foresaw some of these things, maybe not that we foresaw, we were just contemplating. So we wanted to meet them earlier on and then see the way forward. So we are just waiting for a possible date. We're working through someone to try to get us so that we can meet the new administration, and then maybe we can sit down with them. For we are ready to, anytime an invitation is given to us, or maybe our invitation is granted, we are ready to go. It's just the time that we are just waiting for. Whatever they can do to sustain this thing for us, they should, because people's lives are in danger. I wish Joy can pick their cameras and come to Kolebu, come and see patients, the way they are suffering, their tummy. Already, Kolebu, we have a lot of challenges already. So if this one is also to come and add up to it, it's going to be a big deal for us.
Well, Minority Leader Alexander Afenyomakin has charged newly sworn-in members of Parliament to stick to their principles but still be firm and respectful of each other. Addressing the new MPs at an orientation program, the Afutu MP urged his colleagues to avail themselves of new learning opportunities to better serve their constituents.
One's ability to gain a better understanding and appreciation of the parliamentary rules and procedure, and as such navigate the complex nature of parliamentary work, commences with a better understanding of how Parliament works, which is this workshop seeks to offer us. Some of us in leadership have always advocated for the need to equip legislators with the requisite skills and expertise through training programs and workshops so that we can undertake our lawful mandates effectively and efficiently. That in all of these, in the interest of governance, never get personal with any matter. Respect colleagues, compliment colleagues, use language that is acceptable to good governance, and you will survive. Colleagues, now the parliamentary service staff, you underestimate them, you underrate them, you disrespect them at your own peril. Without boring you, I survived in the chamber because I got closer to them. Make them your friends. Respect them. Crow them. Don't think that your privilege of being an honorable member means that you are above them. If you see their CVs, this training program would offer us the opportunity to learn about how we can bring to the attention of the House the grievances, concerns, and complaints of our constituents so that the remedial measures can be put in place.
On his part, Deputy Majority Leader Emmanuel Amakofibwa urged the new MPs to always stay on the floor of the House to learn how things are done and ensure they serve the best needs of their constituents.
If you will succeed as a member of Parliament, the foundation you lay in your first term is what will take you there. And you want to note that as a member of Parliament, the first 4 years, which is your first term, you may have to work extra harder. You may have to reach out more. You may have to engage more. You may have to spend a little more time in your constituencies than the other members of Parliament. This is, to me, very important. As you embark on this new journey, I urge you to take the business of Parliament seriously. The work ahead will not be easy, but it will be rewarding. Our democracy depends on your commitment to the principles of justice, equity, and accountability. You must all rise above partisan interest and focus on the greater good of the Ghanaian people. As you engage in these topics over the coming days, I encourage you to be open, ask questions. And I think it's important that I add, make new friends, engage more, ask questions. No question in Parliament is a stupid question. Decide on how your politics will be very early on. Do you want your politics to be a gentler or right in your face? Each path you take will define you. And you have to make that choice. The bottom line is that you have begun a journey, and that journey can bring you to a fifth term, as I have been. It's not an easy journey, but it requires you to decide very early on some of the choices, and I think some of them are what I've told you.
You're watching Joy Newsroom with me, Emefa Akosia Adete. We go for a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please stay. Welcome back to Joy Newsroom. Now let's take you to Ifijasi in the Ashanti region, where hundreds of market women are demanding access to stalls. They are stalls after paying a contractor for the renovation of the market. The traders allege the Setre East District Assembly instructed them to pay the contractor for the rehabilitation with the promise that each woman will be allotted a stall once the work was completed. However, the spaces are being allocated to unknown persons after project completion. Here is a report.
Over 100 traders of the Ifijasi markets, mostly women, hit the streets with placards to protest against the local assembly and the contractor for failing to award them their spaces to trade after paying for the market rehabilitation. The traders expressed their anger and disappointment in the former district chief executive for Setre East, Osei Edia. They are demanding a refund of their money or access to the stores.
Yenye sika ntwa ne bum enti wo mo te meeting ma yens edwomfo ne yemfie nipa nka mo ye de nipa mienu council baako enti council na ne din ehyaase.
They promised to rebuild the market for 210 Ghana cedis, allowing partial payment, with the council we appointed in charge. However, we've heard nothing from the DC. We need our stores and our money.
Amano maybe amano
If we don't get our money or access to the store, I will enter without permission. My items are all rusted now.
But the project contractor has denied allegations. CEO of Andy Bell Construction Company, Andrew Champon, says the funds were paid to the Setre East District Assembly.
Say a dreadful 4 years mame or moon years cavia mame. Name a assembly no and or more assembly member back. A don't be any bias or more than 80 dwelling. Inti nipa 16 and huska and omudi preme 16 shops and so media more. Inti nyano press will get you mame wabra.
It's false that all marketers paid me. Only 16 people did, and they have received their shops.
Said I was in Papa DC tree mutual catch any seminar maker.
Joseph Obin's report for Joy News.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, in the Ashanti region is expending more working hours to register vehicle owners following a mad rush for 2025 number plate. The Licensing Authority in the last 2 years introduced a digital platform to aid registration, but the system continues to jam as many new applicants are left stranded and losing productive hours. Management assures of working to improve on the digital platform to allow a smooth registration process. Josephine Sego has more.
Long queues continue to form at the Ashanti Regional Office of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority as customers eagerly await registration of their vehicles. But the delayed process is frustrating as long queues form at the premises. Some motorists say they traveled from other regions, while others have had to leave their work behind to complete the registration process.
Digital system
We all embrace the digital system, but it seems it is causing some challenges. I've spent 3 full days trying to register a single car.
Register car, but could take it 3 good days. It's over network article.
Monday, and you buy. I hear you young command of a offense number plate. Your one man almost afraid I said, you're my fingerprint now.
I came here on Monday. We were asked to come yesterday for the number plate, but the network keeps delaying. I'm from Ahafo. I've been staying with a relative since I came here on Monday.
A digital platform to aid the registration of vehicles has faced network-related issues, leading to delays in the processing of applications. Amos Kwabena Abaka is the Ashanti Regional Director of the DVLA.
When a lot of people get on a certain network, definitely it will be sluggish. That is the kind of challenge we are having. In lieu of that, we undertake to come in early and then leave very late so that we can serve as many people as we should.
So meaning you are coming now early than your usual time?
Normally, yes, we do.
Around what time?
By 7, officers are already on doing their work. And we can stay up to 8 and after. As we continue to stay late to be able to attend to a lot of the clients, definitely the numbers will begin to come down. And once the numbers come down, everything will come to normal and then the system will automatically. But I should also add that behind the scenes, the authority is working on improving the system, putting in place systems to ensure that all those bottlenecks are removed so that we have smooth operation.
In December last year, the authority adopted a pre-inspection policy for new vehicle owners to commence their registration process and reduce congestion at their offices. Despite the initial hurdles, the transition marks significant progress towards a more secure and efficient vehicle registration process, reflecting the DVLA's commitment to better service delivery. Reporting for Joy News, Josephine Sego.
Moving away from the Ashanti region, residents of Asenjoabin in the central region are taking matters into their own hands to ensure the safety of school children by constructing a 6-unit classroom block. Now, currently, students walk a considerable distance on a busy road to reach another community, Odumase, for their education, which poses a significant safety risk, with others dying through vehicular accidents. Community elder and local residents are determined not to wait for another tragedy before finding a solution. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has more in the story.
The main street towards Asin Odumasi DA Basic School, a route many children take every day. While the school is closed for the day, this road continues to serve as a vital pathway for students, many of whom walk to and from school despite its risk. In recent years, tragedy has hit this very road. 3 children have been knocked down and killed by vehicle while on their way to school. Ejura Sofo is a former student.
5 school children were struck and killed by a vehicle while crossing a curved road on their way home from school. 3 of the children lost their lives in the tragic incident, which occurred 8 years ago when I was a child. I witnessed it at first hand, and the road remains extremely dangerous.
Ejura's words reflect the growing concern among residents. Local authorities, including community elders, share the same worry. Akwasi Opon is one of the elders of the Asenjoabin community.
Our children walk along this road which is hazardous due to the many vehicles that pass by. Recently, a tragic incident occurred on this stretch when several school children were struck by a moving vehicle, resulting in some of them losing their lives.
BBC ayaka ebedwiri yankwara bi amuye school for monam kwan.
For 4 years, Benny Sowusu has been teaching in a neighboring community, but like many here, she is deeply concerned about the safety of young children who walk alone to school.
I'm saying that because of the road. I mean, if you look at our city like Accra, you can see that they have pedestrian way from people that can walk. But if you look at this place, that one is not there. And then a child like this, I've been always complaining. If you ask my colleague, I've always complaining. Even me, myself, I cannot even walk from here to here. 10 years, 9 years, even 6 years. You'll be seeing them with this road. It's very dangerous. So at least if they have the school here, that one will help them.
At a recent homecoming event, funds were raised to begin constructing a 6-unit classroom block. The community is actively seeking additional sources of funds for the project, which will bring much-needed educational opportunities closer to the children of Asin Joabin. Nana Amponsa is the regent of Asin Joabin.
But I see any so I say, Asin Hayasha, your school.
The primary goal of organizing this event is to address the fact that Asin Joabin is the only community without a school. Building a school here will significantly contribute to the future development of our children. And when we are no longer around, these children will remember us for providing them with the opportunity to learn. Education is crucial, and without it, a person has no future. This is something we refuse to let happen to our children.
One of the community elders, Kwame Tibua, emphasizes the importance of education in any thriving society.
It is in your scratch and Kalano free as a war. Jabihona, a bit me abua.
Once the school is built, it will allow children to begin their education at an early age. This will also ease the burden on parents who currently have to take their children to the farm and market, as our community is primarily focused on farming.
But more support is needed. The community still requires at least 500,000 Ghanaian cedis to fully construct the 6-unit classroom block. Until that goal is met, children in Asin Joabin will continue to face dangers on the road to and from school. For them, safety is not just a wish, it is a right. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
President John Mahama has announced the formation of a 5-member Harga Task Force led by Esutifi South MP Collins Dauda to begin work on implementing his promise to significantly reduce Hajj fares. Speaking during the National Muslim Prayer and Thanksgiving at the National Mosque here in Accra, he assured Muslims that they will have an additional holiday alongside the Eid Fitr holiday this year, as Parliament is expected to amend the Holidays Act once it settles. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Akbakba has more in this report.
At the National Muslim Prayer and Thanksgiving event, President John Mahama, the National Chief Imam, and top NDC officials were present. Speaking at the event, NDC General Secretary Fifi Kwete prayed for Allah's guidance as the President makes his ministerial appointments.
We particularly are in need of your prayers and also of your guidance, even as His Excellency and the Vice set up the team that is supposed to help to accomplish the resetting agenda. As we all know, the composition of the team is critical for success.
NDC Chairman Johnson Esidu Nketiah expressed gratitude to the Muslim community for supporting the party.
The Muslim community of this country, and to thank the Chief Imam very profusely. If for nothing at all, you have demonstrated through this election that Ghana is a secular state and remains a secular state.
President Mahama assured Muslims of an additional Eid holiday. He announced the formation of a 5-member Harga Task Force led by Sitsifi South MP Collins Dauda to reduce Hajj fares.
We intend to keep our promise that was made to the Muslim community. And I can highlight a few of the promises. And one was that we will reduce Hajj fares drastically. I have formed a Hajj Task Force that is led currently, 5-member Hajj Task Force, that is led currently by our longest serving MP, the Honorable Collins Dauda. And they'll be leaving for the Holy Land on Monday to participate in the Hajj conference. And one of the tasks that I have given them is to go and make arrangements so that we can bring the Hajj fares as low as possible so that as many Muslims who intend to perform the pilgrimage can do so. We promised to add one more holiday to the Eid al-Fitr. So as soon as Parliament settles, we're going to amend the Holidays Act to include an extra holiday on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr. And so this year, after we finish the fast of the Ramadan, we will have 2 holidays for the Salah festivities.
Supporters of the National Democratic Congress in the Abman North constituency have demanded an immediate declaration of NDC candidate Abman North as winner of the parliamentary elections. The collation of Abman North parliamentary election results has been at the center of controversy as the EC is still unable to declare the final results after 5 separate attempts. Some NDC party supporters who were at the EC regional office on Friday accused the commission of complicity in the delayed collation and demanded immediate announcement of the results. James Aveji has more in the following report.
You can see behind me quite a number of NDC supporters who said they are coming from the Abman North constituency. Some, about an hour ago, have gathered here at the forecourt of the EC's Greater Accra Regional Office. And in the last few minutes, I've been interacting with them. What they are indicating is that the Electoral Commission should immediately declare their candidate, Abman North, as winner of that constituency. And we have here the constituency director of elections. What exactly is contained in that statement you want to share with the public and the Electoral Commission?
So we wish to
first tell us your name.
I'm Daniel Tonyega. I'm the elections director of the constituency. We wish to address the true state of the Abman North constituency parliamentary elections following the 6th illegal recollation exercise, even though an initial declaration was made by the same commission. We urge the EC to save itself from further embarrassment and chaos. Madam Jaminsa, We strongly believe that your outfit can redeem its image by redirecting its effort to implementing acceptable processes and procedures. We are calling for a transparent, unbiased process to ensure the will of the people of Abman North is considered and respected. In my conclusion, Honorable Abman North is the Abman North constituency a candidate that was declared. We stand firm in our call for fair, transparent resolution to this.
What's your direct call to the EC?
Of course, I read it in my statement that the EC must save itself from all these embarrassment. They should do the needful. You have already declared a candidate a winner. Why are you reneging on your own declaration and you want to change and subvert the will of the people? That is not right. We want to call on all the authorities of Ghana to tell the EC, just as they have declared, they should go ahead and make an affirmation to that. That is all. Thank you very much.
And that's the Director of Elections for the NDC in the Abman North constituency there, calling essentially on the EC to declare their candidate, Abman North, winner of the election. James Savage here from the EC Regional Coalition Center here in Accra.
Well, following some recently recorded robberies in parts of Accra, one of the semi-finalist teams in this year's Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize Challenge, Inquisitive Investigators, is inventing a prototype to block unauthorized access to economic institutions. There's more in the following reports filed by Joy Prime's Joan Nyame.
A surge in robbery cases in parts of Accra is spreading a wave of fear and unease among residents. In November 2024, Adabraka was the scene of a chilling daylight robbery. Brazen gunmen attacked a jewelry shop in plain sight, snatching sacks of cash.
You see, this guy is even unmasked. Let me see if I can. Should I add the sound? You can add sound. Add sound. You should add what? Sound.
This incident is isolated. The recurring attacks have left many sleepless, worried for their safety and yearning for solutions to protect their homes, businesses, and lives. But amidst the uncertainty, hope is taking root. A group of young innovators is working to transform fear into resilience. They are the Inquisitive Investigators, one of the participating groups in this year's Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize Challenge.
We had we can go into our communities, find problems and bring them out, try to brainstorm on ideas to help solve the problem. So when we went to our communities, we found out there were some robberies in, I think, Adabraka, I don't know, but certain area. So we came up with this idea to create a project that will help reduce unauthorized access to homes, other institutions. It can be used in anywhere, workplaces, your homes, universities, anywhere, banks, to prevent people from accessing that, unauthorized people from accessing that particular place.
Driven by their vision for a safer future, Adepa and her teammates are determined to perfect their innovation and make it to the G-Step finals.
So I'm willing to cooperate with my team members, no matter how difficult it is. I'm willing to tolerate them, listen to their point of views, try to cooperate with them to push us through the semi-finals to the finals. I'm willing to share the idea through social media platforms so that when others see it, they would buy it and then also help to share the information for others to also purchase our product.
From the shadows of fear to the light of hope, these young minds are crafting solutions that could one day shield communities from the dangers that haunt them. Joan Nyame's report, read to you.
You're watching Joy Newsroom, and time now for business. Now, the National Petroleum Authority has, in a press statement, clarified the steps taken to revert an eminent shortage in petrol in the northern parts of Ghana. Now, let's take you through the details of that release. Now, following reports of pockets of shortage of petrol in the northern parts of the country, the Technical Committee on Energy set up by the Chief of Staff met on the 10th day of January 2025 to discuss modalities to resolve the issue. It goes on to say the National Petroleum Authority wishes to assure the general public that there's no cause for alarm. The logistical challenge identified as being comprehensively resolved using a three-pronged approach as follows. 1. Oil marketing companies, which you know as the OMCs, are being granted a special dispensation to load petrol from the Bulk Energy Storage and Transportation Company, which you know as BOST depot in Kumasi, to serve retail outlets in the 5 regions in the northern part of the country. 2. Oil marketing companies are being granted a special dispensation to load more petrol from depots in Tema to augment what is being loaded from Kumasi to serve retail outlets in the 5 regions in the northern part of the country. And the third one, arrangements are being made to collaborate with BOST to move 9 million liters of petrol in the pipeline between the Bipe and Bolgatanga depots to share into storage in Bolgatanga to immediately serve retail outlets in the 5 regions in the northern part of the country. Now, this three-pronged solution is being implemented concurrently to immediately address the issue. Consequently, we wish to encourage the consuming public to go about their normal business and avoid panic buying. The NPA, however, wishes to reassure Ghanaians of adequate fuel stocks in the country, and there are vessels lined up to discharge products into the country as well. That's the release that was released by the NPA yesterday, just brought to you on your screens. Now, moving on, the IMF management team is in town to engage government on its policies and economic directions. George Refe has more in the following report on the meeting and has more in that report.
This is not a program review or a staff engagement, but rather a management team visit. This usually is carried out by the IMF when there is a change in government, but the program in that country has not ended. Therefore, the team wants to engage this new administration about their economic policies and how that will impact on the program that Ghana has with the IMF. Joy Businesses learned that the team came to town yesterday and they are likely to finalize their meeting this weekend or Monday. Sources say the meetings are proceeding as planned, at least for now. However, persons close to government say this engagement may offer them an opportunity to test the waters when it comes to their push to renegotiate Ghana's program with the IMF. The IMF, on the other hand, has told Joy Business that even though they are not opposed to the program being reviewed, whatever government wants to push should be in line with the framework of the fund program. Now, Finance Minister designate Forson has also disclosed that if confirmed by Parliament, he will be moving for more funding for Ghana's program with the IMF and also a possible program extension.
That'll be all for today on Joy Newsroom with me, MFA Akosiadeti. For more news, though, do log on to myjoyonline.com. We appreciate your company.